Abbreviation works good. Gag.
Gag. This is the only podcast that is guaranteed to get you into heaven.
Gag plus ugh. Gag.
Listen to this podcast and you will go to heaven.
Yeah.
And when we have the Patreon set up, maybe if you pay, you get to go to the VIP lounge of heaven,
Yeah.
the champagne room of heaven.
The gloating cloud, where
Yeah.
you look at the people in hell and go, "Hi, I told you, you shouldn't have masturbated." Now look at your burn. You can't see me because your eyes are burning, but you're burning.
Whenever you were a kid growing up and you were going to church, what did you picture heaven was like? What was your idea of heaven?
Yeah, clouds. What is this shit from the Bible? Golden streets,
Well, that shit wasn't in the Bible, right?
pearly gates.
Like the stuff that comes from the Bible.
Those are from hymns.
That's all external. That's all Sunday school shit.
No,
That's
yeah,
not
my
actually in
parents
the
told
Bible.
me you can have whatever you want, and I said I wanted my mansion to be walls to be made of those Jelly Belly dispensers.
Yeah.
So my whole house would just, and then I realized that's clear and everybody can see in my house. If I eat enough Jelly Bellies, then the walls become see-through.
I wanted the whole snozberries taste like snozberries
Yeah, hell yeah.
situation. I wanted like very much Willy Wonka type stuff. I guess I thought of clouds and stuff too. But you remember there was an old Onion article where it was like interviewing preachers and pastors and stuff, and they were saying they think it's gonna be like just a church service that never ends.
Yeah, those guys approached me when I was at Liberty University to be like an inside guy because they went there, and they're like anti.
The whole time, even when I was a little kid, I was like, "Oh, this sounds like bullshit. Sounds like fairy tales."
Yeah, the more you understand like the spirit and the soul and what the proposal is, that you'll be in constant communication with God.
Yeah.
But then if the voice of God to you is like the male voice, like we were saying before, it's threatening, angry, fearful, judging. Why would you want to be in constant, straight with your soul, no body communication with that?
Yeah, it sounds like 1984, like Big Brother's
thing.
watching you.
Yeah. Plus, if you have no body, then what even do you want for walls or streets or gates or anything?
Yeah.
It's existential.
Maybe it's like the Matrix. Maybe you're just plugged in.
Well, there's no soul, there's no spirit anyway, unless you believe in it. It's somewhere in the doctor can't tell you. Nobody knows where that is.
Yeah.
With all the diagrams and dissections of the human body, it's something from another dimension that people just like to believe that they have because they're special.
Maybe we should get an organ so we can play organ music in the background.
I'm special. Did you like the picture I sent you today, the homeless guy playing the accordion?
Yeah, what the hell was that? Where was that?
It's on 22 on the way to work. That guy just busted it out. He's angrily playing it.
Yeah.
He's mad.
Yeah, he's doing the Breath of the Wild. The cat.
Summon the Great Fairy.
Yeah.
Ah.
I haven't found that guy in Tears of the Kingdom yet. There's people that play music, but there's no cast. There's none of the bird guy who's playing the accordion the whole time.
Yeah, there's some band somewhere. They're talking about them.
Yeah, I've met them, or at least some of them.
It's hot girls taking a walk o'clock right now outside. I don't know if you noticed. On the way here, there's a lot of that going on.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I work in the domain, so I walk around the domain a couple
The
days
bro
a week,
main.
and I'm like,
We're going there for Adam Friedland, right? Next week?
weekend after next,
June 1st.
June 3rd.
Okay. And it's May 23rd right
Yeah,
now.
we get to go see the Bug.
Yeah, I don't know if he has material. It was the same thing I was saying about Nick.
Yeah,
But Nick had been doing comedy since he was 23
right.
or 16 or whatever. But Adam, I think just, he doesn't write. I don't know what he writes for their show now.
Yeah, I don't know what I mean. You know what Staub's stand-up's like.
Yeah.
I know what Nick's stand-up's like too. But yeah, Adam, not a lot of clips of Adam coming out.
No.
Not a lot of stuff getting posted on Instagram, so it'll be interesting.
We were explaining to our previous guest that all our comedy heroes are fucking failures. They're dead. They killed themselves. They got canceled. This is a weird thing to aspire to. I want to do comedy and die.
Yeah.
Or get in trouble.
Yeah.
It's more punk than punk. I guess it's more emo than punk.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Sad.
That's how it's always been. Rock stars have always died. What's the saying that rock stars all want to be comedians and comedians all want to be rock stars?
Yeah, you want street cred or you want to be taken seriously as a creative person, and it's there are people like that do both, like Jim Gaffigan.
Yeah.
Family kind of oriented, decent, but people still respect him. We're getting some YouTube heat, apparently.
It's probably bots.
Yeah.
It's robots.
Yeah. I'll take whatever. It still looks good that it says that many views on there
Right.
for normal people to look at it.
Right. Hey, look, there's a butt.
I know we went to Miami the year 2000 New Year's, and my buddy walked around with a camera in a bag sticking out the lens in the nude beach
You
part.
creep shot at him.
It's like, dude, you're from Orlando. You can come down here and do this anytime you want. We're having New Year's. We brought all the bros, drove down from Virginia. Can we not creep? Can we just...
Yeah, you're like East Coast Jerry Falwell evangelical.
Yeah.
I'm West Texas evangelical.
The, what's his name? The Righteous Gemstones guy. He's from Virginia.
Yeah, they were. He was on Matt and Shane and talked about it. I was like, they had to be in South Carolina.
Yeah. That was all of our dads worked for the Pentagon.
Yeah.
And none of them could say what they did all day. And they all made missiles to murder brown people.
And then y'all went to church on
church.
Sundays. Yeah. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
We spent New Year's at the News Cafe right along here on the Strip, Miami. And had mojitos and took ecstasy and smoked crippies.
Yeah, you got to have a whole 90s East Coast early adulthood.
Yeah.
Where you guys got to do all that.
We're always going down
I just
to
got to have
Winter Music
living in
Conference.
Austin.
Abilene.
Yeah. Yeah,
We went
West
down to-
Texas to Austin.
We went to the Winter Music Conference and saw Perry Farrell do his weird Jewish DJing. Lots of progressive radio stations with festivals up and down the East Coast. HF Festival. That's why I like Cumtown, because those guys are all from
Yeah, you guys are
Same.
all like Maryland, Virginia people.
metropolitan area. That's why this place, Austin, seems so small, because DC is such a crazy sprawl. Like the
Yeah.
Beltway is just...
Well, it's the same people who come here from Houston. It's the same thing. It's like
There's 8 beltways. There's a lot of belts. Same with San
Yeah.
Antonio. And it's just everywhere. You can go. I was thinking we never did this, but it would be fun in a metropolitan place like DC or New York with a lot of metro stops, just to go with your friends and like pick a metro stop to go check out every
Yeah.
Saturday. But then I thought about it more and I was like, some of those suck.
Yeah.
I've been to some of them and they're in the middle of nowhere. It's only good for having a cab pick you up.
There's probably some pretty bad
It's
ones.
not necessarily a destination. Like we would step out and go, oh, this one sucks. Let's get back on and go back to the next one. You know, half of them are in Maryland, half of them are in Virginia.
You got all these guys with like the slingshot things. It's almost like this walkthrough of Miami that we're watching is like staged. It's like, oh, there just happens to be those guys with the 3-wheel cars. What are those things?
They were just talking about Urban Beach Week on Twitter because DeSantis is... Somebody, NAACP, issued a warning for African Americans about Florida. They said it's becoming dangerously conservative for other cultures.
Right.
And then one of the DeSantis' supporters, some blonde bitch, was like, does that mean no Urban Beach Week? Like, wow, they're leaning into it all the way.
There was a tweet that said, they put out that thing and then they're like, tipping is expected to decrease by 0.0%.
Service industry, the labor crisis.
I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of African Americans here in this little Miami walkthrough we're watching.
The guy that I lived with, the guy with the camera that I was telling you about on Miami,
Yeah.
I moved in with him when I was 25 or 26, and I moved from Virginia down to Florida for a year. It's the craziest year of my life. But he had 2 American bulldogs, huge white American bulldogs, named Sola and Sobe. They're both girls, and they we had them in an apartment downtown Orlando.
Are they named after like juice drinks?
I don't probably.
Sola. Isn't Sola like a Mexican?
He had
sparkling?
a Cuban girlfriend, so I
And
think there was
Sobe?
some kind of Cuban thing involved with that or something.
And Sobe was like a juice, right? From the 90s.
Which one? Orbits. That was the one with the balls.
Mm-hmm.
But we came home from work and we wanted to go out drinking. We've been texting each other all day. It's a shitty day, Friday at work. Let's go out drinking. So we went out. We didn't take the dogs out. It's not my responsibility. They weren't my dogs. He was sharing them with his ex-girlfriend. She kept coming around, causing problems. So we went out drinking. And then we came home shit-faced and passed out and didn't take them out. So I woke up. I didn't have a room at this apartment. I was in the den. There was like a wall, half wall. So I woke up. It was the only time I've ever woken up through my nose holes of being woken up by a smell. Usually you get waken up by a light or sound, somebody touching you, or an alarm. This smell was so bad. The dogs had what we figured out, had Just took in a shit because we didn't take them out earlier when we went out drinking. And then they felt guilty and ate it before we got home. and then we came home and passed out. And then while we were passed out, they threw up the shit on the floor. So it was half digested, guilt-eaten poop. And it was like a bright light that woke up my nose holes. It was like, hey, it's time to wake up.
It's like somebody turns the lights,
Undeniable.
shines a flashlight in your nose.
I've slept through some smells before, but never like that. Was toxic. It was bad. You could see it almost.
You could like see it in the air. Jesus. It takes on like the smell takes on multiple senses.
We had speaking of religion, we had a more religious family than us. Their kid's name was Nate Maddox. He was my friend from band. He was a skater. We just skateboard around and steal shit. And he got worse, and I just stayed like how I was. And he quit hanging out with me because he was a klepto, and I found some of my shit that he'd stolen in my room.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, we're not friends anymore. I didn't say anything. I just quit hollering at him. And then he faked that he was at our house so he could stay with some girl, and his mom called during dinner. And I saw my mom pick up the phone. She was like, hi, Brenda. No, he's not here. Did he tell you that he was coming here? And I was like, fuck, who is it? And then my mom came and sat back down at dinner and was like, Nate lied to his parents and said he was, and I was like, oh, I know where he is. She was like, well, we should call her back and tell her where he is. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. He's at Kelly's. They're in a band together. They're making ska music and whatever. But he moved out, ran away kind of when he was 17, 18 to New Mexico to be in a throuple. But he had 2 younger siblings, and they were all very rebellious. And the 2 younger siblings ended up in the newspaper because they dosed their parents with PCP. They made a cherry pie with PCP in it and stole their car and ran away to go visit Nate in New Mexico. And then Nate moved back later to New York and was in this band, hipster band called Gang Gang Dance. They were in Vice and stuff early on when Vice was a magazine.
Yeah.
And he died from lightning because...
Oh, that's the friend that got struck by lightning?
Every time there was a lightning storm, he'd go to the top of the tallest building in Chinatown, Manhattan, and stand on the roof and yell at God.
Hell yeah. So
eventually he got one down the throat. And of course the band made it this mythological thing. Like he dared God to take him. And it's like, that's a numbers game. If you go every thunderstorm in New York, eventually you're going to catch one. You're the lightning rod. So it's, debatable. But, they say strong times, bad times make strong men.
Hard times make strong men. Strong men make good times make weak men make hard times.
So that's what I'm doing with my kids. Strict parents make crazy kids.
Right. So
I'm the crazy kid. And crazy kids, I want to see what kind of kids I have. Are they going to be rebelliously normal?
Yeah, right.
And we're going to... my parents are crazy. We're just going to be...
It's the old Patton Oswalt bit about how he's going to be the most boring dad in the world.
Yeah.
So that his kid likes cool stuff and not crap. Or, the joke, the old joke or the comic where it's the effeminate dad with beard and glasses and then the butch mom. And he's like, fuck you, mom and dad. There are only 2 genders. I'm going to go start a business. And they're like, where did we go wrong?
I'm never going to play football, or I'm never going to skateboard and be in a band like you.
I'm going to just play football.
Fuck you, Dad. I'm going to play football.
I'm going to go to church.
Then I got to go to football games. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
Great. Go. Great job. Go Balls. I told you about Get Out of There. We used to yell Get Out of There at bumps.
Yeah.
I got a new one.
Yeah.
Speaking of nasty dog shit, I saw a guy walking his dog on the way to work the other day. And it was pooping on the corner. And I just hate commuting so much. I feel like my life is being stolen from me and I want to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
So we used to, when I worked with this road crew of guys, if we saw a bum digging in the trash, everybody, whoever was driving, they'd go, shh, slow down, roll the windows down. And then we'd come up close behind him and yell, get out of there. And he would jump.
Yeah.
And then we'd all crack up because we made the bum jump. He's not doing anything wrong. But,
Right. The one I liked was... the black dude you worked with, when they saw a black guy, they go, boy, get your ass up.
You better get.
He said one guy started chasing after you.
Yeah, I'm going to beat the brakes off of you. So I saw a guy walking his dog, and the dog was fully hunched in a circle arc taking a shit.
Yeah.
So I slowed down and rolled my window down and came up next to him, and I went, ew, poop. Gross. It was so awkward.
Was it just you by yourself?
Yeah.
You just did it.
I'm
You just did it to amuse
Yeah,
yourself.
because I hate commuting. I hate having an hour of my life stolen from me every day. I'm going to do something fun. I'm going to get my kids to start doing it. We're all going to do it.
It's gonna be a whole thing.
It's rare. I mean, you catch somebody with their dog pooping, especially like it was at a big intersection like Lamar and Koenig,
right.
and the dog was just fully pooping. So, and the guy, the person holding the leash is always like trying to act like everything's fine or getting a bag ready or something. That's the other one. If they don't have a bag, you can roll the window down and be like, "Where's your bag?
Yeah.
Do you have a bag? That's gross."
That's what my roommate does. Is if he's in a bathroom, it doesn't matter where it is, who it is. If the other person doesn't wash their hands, like, you don't wash your hands. That's gross. That's disgusting. Wash your hands.
Ew.
Ew.
Yuck. You're yucky.
Disgusting.
I mean,
Like,
it's kind of
that's one of my favorite YouTube videos. Is those two little girls
Yeah,
that are
shaitan.
recording themselves and their mom bursts in is like, he's not flushing the toilet after they've had a shite.
disgusting.
Disgusting.
Chiaki was on here before, and I was re-listening back, and in another
So those are the beta episodes. That's what I've decided. Those are going to be like
prequels,
episode minus world, like
Yeah.
the minus world in Super Mario Brothers. That's what those
origin story,
the origins. Yeah.
dark number 0 comic.
Yeah.
But she said all the mass murderers are men. We were talking about shooters,
Yeah.
and she was like, or Ted Bundy or something. She was like, they're all male, and I was like, yeah, dudes do shit. You got to get out of bed first to murder everybody.
Yeah.
There's not any female mass murderers.
If there are, it's like that one, and then it's a man's fault.
Yeah.
Like the chick
drove
from
me to
Monster,
it.
like Charlize Theron. You know the whole. Oh, it's just because men were mean to her.
Yeah. This is a man's world. So Walter Philippek. We've talked about this 3 episodes in a row now. The World War II
World War
guy.
II veteran who has no what is it that Shane
No
Gillis says?
PTSD.
Like he has no PTSD. He's like, yeah, I killed him. Yep, I
So,
did.
I
he's
want you to
dead.
watch it with me again later and help me figure out this mystery because I think I'm right.
Okay.
He has 2 separate stories on this YouTube video. He's dead, by the way. He died in January 2023. He has 2 separate stories about a commanding officer that he had a disagreement with.
And he told him he would shoot him.
Soon later,
Yeah.
he said he got hit in the neck by a sniper.
Yeah.
Which, that's very convenient. If you're in a war and your commanding officer tells you to put your life at risk for his whim because he doesn't know how fucking war works, it'll be a lot easier for you if something happened to that guy.
Right.
There's bullets flying everywhere anyway. So that's probably why Walter Philippek doesn't have PTSD because he's a stone cold murderer.
Yeah, maybe he'd have been like like John Wayne Gacy if he'd have stayed in America. If there hadn't have been a World War II
Yeah.
to get sent off to.
Plus, you get a promotion if your commanding officer passes away. You get bumped up.
Right.
I don't know. He died.
Well, he died.
He got a sniper through the neck. It was a Japanese sniper. It was a Japanese bullet. Nobody can find the bullet. It went in and out.
It went in. It was slanted. That's how you know.
Slanty in and out. And he went down. Unfortunately, it happened a day after he was telling me what to do and trying to shit in my bunk. But that's neither here nor there.
It's a coincidence.
But I did come here to kill, and that's what I done.
Oh man, you know what? You know what's weird is that like the dominant strain of Jews have Nazi in their name.
Yeah, hell yeah.
The Ashkenazi, the dominant strain.
Well, one of the most famous Austrians has the N-word in his name.
Yeah,
Arnold.
yeah. No,
Arnold Schwarzer. What now?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the old
Ashkenazi Jews.
Ashkenazi Jews. That's so weird. It's almost like it's too poetic. It's too much of a coincidence.
You know how people those videos of sovereign nation people that get pulled over by the police? And
Yeah,
they're like, I'm a sovereign nation.
I'm not driving. I'm traveling.
Yeah. That's what the founding fathers said when the British came to tax them. They were like, we're a sovereign nation. We don't have to pay. It was basically just like that neckbeard that was like, I don't have to tell you my name.
Yeah.
I'm my own thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there was more than one of them. It was all the Americans over here, and they kind of agreed, and they got together. But
Well, yeah, all those sovereign citizens. I mean, if they if there were enough of them to surround the police officer with their guns, then yeah, whatever they say is true. Like
Yeah.
that, whatever they say is the law. That was the whole point of the Revolutionary War. It's like, hey, there's more of us than there are of you.
But all the other stories about those guys were that they were drunk, they were witch hunting, they were hallucinating off of tainted corn, they were banging slaves, and the only people that were bringing order were the British and coming and checking on them, and well, of course, doing prima nocta and taking their wives and their money and everything. But eventually, those dudes were all drunk, tripping balls, killing witches, banging slaves, and they're like, you know what? I don't
No more prima nocta.
I don't want to get told what to do anymore by these British people. They come over here taking my tea and whiskey. I mean, it's basically us,
telling us we got to pay taxes. They were just libertarians.
The only
That's all
difference
they
between
were.
them and the sovereign nation neckbeard getting pulled over is that there's a lot of them.
Yeah, that was the whole thing. Is that like, hey, there's like if there was enough sovereign nation people to overwhelm the military, then it would be the sovereign nation world country.
Yeah. I love I love those videos. I love people not telling the police their name or getting ID out or anything.
Yeah.
Because it's like they're trying to supersede the entire process of the law.
Yeah. It's like, well, one of you has a gun, and it's not you.
Operating a motor vehicle on a public street.
Right.
Doesn't matter who you are. You could be letting your dog drive and you're still going to jail.
Right. Right. The sovereign citizens are the best. They are fun to watch. And we're back. So when did you move to Austin? What year did you move to Austin?
2004.
2004.
And I've tried every biscuits and gravy and chicken fried steak that's been available.
What was the best one?
Threadgills was really good. I mean, I married a Southern girl, so I get biscuits and gravy at home is my favorite. I mean, she makes better migas than anywhere that I've had either because she makes it exactly how I tell her. And I've got my sauce that I like. So it's, the home cooking is what you want. I mean, all this Hispanic dudes that I know, I'm like, where's the best taco? And they're like, my grandma's. So,
McQuermos?
my grandma's house.
Oh my! It's like McQuermos. Where's
I'm
that?
at my grandma's house. And I'm like, can I go?
McQuermos.
Can I come to your grandma's? I want to go. But yeah, Threadgills and Stubbs I really liked when I first came here. Anything with a gospel brunch. If there's black dudes singing, they better fucking make that biscuits and gravy, right? And the cheese grits at Threadgills are really good. And then I just really always, when I first moved here, I lived right next to a Whataburger, and I'd go get biscuits and gravy there all the time. It's kind of watery. It's not the best. But what I did find here that I really like that you can't do anywhere else is you can replicate pretty close to authentic British fish and chips. And I got Adrian down to help me execute this because the fries have to be from Bill Miller. The fries from Bill Miller are exactly like British French fry chips.
I wonder why that is.
From the fish and chippy. They're big, thick steak fries.
Yeah.
Like they have a sizzler and stuff. And then the cod from Culver's is the same. It's pretty close to the same as in Britain.
So if you can time it just right where they
one of us is going to go to Bill Miller
Yeah.
and the other one's going to go to Culver's, and we'll meet back at our house. And it'll be still hot and fresh.
Yeah.
Because the fucking Culver's fries are like those crinkle cut.
Right.
They're not that great. But yeah, I've been eating like a tourist for 20 years.
Yeah.
That's why I'm fat.
Yeah.
Because ever since I got here, I'm like, ooh, what's this? Ooh, what's this? And the restaurant industry is so volatile. It's a Coke-fueled nightmare.
There's always something
like
new. There's so much turnover. It's like so much turnover in your stomach.
Yeah, in Austin, it's very alive with that kind of thing. I mean, when I went home to D.C., we had watched, what's the dude that killed himself? Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah.
He did a thing about Seven Corners, about the Vietnamese food in Seven Corners, and my wife wanted to check it out. We went out there, and I was like, this is a pain in the ass. It's a ton of traffic. It's a nightmare.
Where's Seven Corners?
It's like Tyson's Corner. It's just one of those big
So there's a whole
Guam.
Vietnamese neighborhood there.
Yeah, it's like a Vietnamese mall. It's
Okay.
disgusting. So I mean, ask Chiaki. It's gross.
Yeah.
A Japanese person would say it's gross. But he made it seem cool because it's Anthony Bourdain. Wherever he goes, seems rad. So there was plenty of foodie culture to be had in DC, but I didn't care enough when I was there. I didn't even know where north, south, east, west was up there until I moved to Florida, and then I knew where the beach was. And then I moved here, and everything's elongated north, south anyway.
Yeah.
So it's easy to know what's.
It's like the only way to go is north, so you can't get east to west. Yeah.
Yeah, there's an east-west river in the middle of everything, so you can kind of triangulate yourself off of stuff.
It's funny, we got a big Vietnamese contingent here too, because apparently, after whenever we were trying to get everybody out, a bunch of them came to go to UT and stayed here.
You don't have to fuck dong dang phone. UT. I saw two dudes doing sign language. They look like us. They look like bros, big, beefy bros. And the way they were doing this is a visual bit, but the way they were doing sign language looked like they were talking about banging some girl. They were slapping their hand into their fist, and laughing and pointing back and forth. And I was like, I want to know what those bros are talking about.
Did you look it up?
No, I should have filmed them. Can you do that again for the camera? I'm gonna run it through Shazam or
it was Shazam for sign language.
Shazam and see if I can figure out what kind of
right.
shit y'all are talking about, the fat bitches or whatever. Because they were slapping something, and I was like, those two dudes are having a rad frat boy time, and they're both dads. It was at the school drop off. They're just two big fat bro dads chilling, deaf.
That's awesome.
They were having a deaf time. They were getting deaf with it. I did a deep dive on Sam Hyde, which, you can only go so deep until you realize he's horrible.
Right. He's like the ironic alt-right guy.
Yes. But, again, same thing we were talking about earlier before we started recording about having the conversation. He's doing a commentary on this phenomenon that affects people in a negative way.
Yeah.
And he's being funny about some suffering that's happening. So it is, it's kind of like a Gavin McInnes type thing.
Yeah.
And he's really massage. But he's hilarious, and he's also always seems like he's about to fucking lose it. Yeah. He's on the edge of insanity all the time.
Yeah, well, apparently that I downloaded the $1 Million Extreme Presents World Peace.
Okay,
which was the Adult Swim show he had for 2 months before.
Yeah, give me it.
It got canceled.
Is it on Plex?
It's on Plex, yeah. But apparently when it came out, all those comedians, all those guys that we listened to for in 2016 were like, dude, this is hilarious, this is amazing. Yeah. But then he got totally just.
They're involved with Tim and Eric also.
Right. Yeah. Apparently it was the guy, one of the Adult Swim, one of the big Adult Swim Comedy Central guys, threw the biggest fit at Adult Swim to get Sam Hyde canceled, or the $1 Million Extreme thing canceled. I can't remember which guy it was. Let me look it up. I can find it out.
But he did a boxing match because he got into some confrontation with somebody named iDubbbz, this other YouTuber who's like a dork. Yeah. And that guy iDubbbz runs this Creator Clash boxing thing, which is basically like Celebrity Deathmatch but real. Right. Like MTV did this 20 years ago with Claymation. They just pit celebrities against each other. But these, Logan Paul and all these influencers are getting jacked up and fighting. Right. Which, I avoid confrontation as much as the next guy. Nobody wants...
Brett Gelman is this guy. The guy from Stranger Things.
Yes.
He was the one who threw a huge fit.
He's been in a bunch of stuff.
To get rid of Sam Hyde from Adult Swim.
Yeah. Well, it's you got to be edgy. You got to ride the line. I mean, the part of comedy is saying fucked up shit. So you say enough fucked up shit, somebody's going to get mad eventually. But it's supposed to be for entertainment. But Sam Hyde boxed. He fought somebody about his weight class. And that's on YouTube, and he won, and because he's insane. But I was thinking, I used to train boxing a little bit. I've never been in a real fight. I didn't get in any physical altercations until after I was 6'4".
Right, you were already the top of the mountain.
Yeah, then you just put people places.
Right,
like I got a gig as a bouncer in Orlando, and I just put a guy in a dumpster. That was actually,
you picked him up and put him in.
I had to fold him in half a little bit.
Awesome.
But he had gotten broken up with. His girlfriend and him were fighting in the bar, and she came and said, "Can you get him out of here? He's drunk and disorderly." And I was like, "What's going on?" Yeah. And she was hot, And I was like, what's going on? She was like, I'm trying to break up with him and he won't leave.
Nice.
I was like, oh, so you're single now, and if I get rid of this guy, there's a single girl in this
Here
bar.
I come to save the day.
And he wasn't understanding it. He was like, no, she's my girlfriend. And I was like, dude, I don't think she's your girlfriend anymore right now. Currently. This is happening right now. He was just too blitzed to understand. I mean, you probably shouldn't break up with someone when they can't understand English and communicate properly. But she was trying to break up with him because he was a mess.
Yeah.
While he was being a mess. And by the time I got him outside, he got mad at me and he started reaching for it in his pockets. He said he had a knife, so I put him in the dumpster.
That's not a knife.
But, if we get into these things are on YouTube, and these are like the aspirations of comedy now. Yeah. And content guys. Like, if one of our goals is now supposed to be that we go box and train, which, whatever, fine, that's fun. You can't really get hurt boxing. You have pads, but I don't want to get that hedonistic and pugilist myself for other people's entertainment necessarily. I mean, I could do that, or I could go get a gig as a door guy at Moon Tower, or what any of those places. Yeah. What is it called? Mothership. Yeah. They let those guys get stage time.
Do they really?
You have to audition to be a bouncer at the Mothership.
Awesome. Yeah.
And you get a night every week. They get the crew night and they get to perform. But I'm afraid of Hispanic gangsters. I don't want to be a bouncer on 6th Street because you could get stabbed. Like, it doesn't matter how good you are at folding people up and putting them in the garbage. That was Orlando, Florida, which is a pussy place, and that was 20 years ago. Austin, 6th Street is a fucking nightmare. You couldn't pay me enough. I mean, I've got insurance, so I could get hurt, but I also have a family and a real job, so I don't necessarily want to.
Can I make my skin bulletproof? How do you do that?
I just want to tell jokes and make people laugh, man. I'm not trying to get hit or stabbed, but it seems like that's becoming part of showbiz, depending on what tier you're in.
Yeah, I'll be like, who is it whose skin is bullet? Is it Luke Cage? Is he the guy who's got bulletproof skin? That'd be pretty cool.
Luke. And then the Russian Colossus.
Yeah, well, that's metal. He's a metal, steel skin or whatever.
What's Kotaku in action? Have you seen this?
Yeah.
What is that?
That's the Gamergate subreddit. Remember Gamergate?
Yeah.
Whenever.
But it seems like it's making fun of it. The Reddit is making fun of it. It's like white people Twitter.
Wait, Kotaku in action?
This is same thing from last week when I didn't know what Tiki was. Oh, yeah. Thanks, I hate it.
No, Kotaku in action is
old man using Twitter and not understanding what the fuck is happening.
Kotaku in action is the subreddit that was created when the whole thing happened. There's like the whole cultural thing. It hit atheism first. I think atheism was the first thing that happened was this thing called Dick Wolves. Yeah, and that was when Penny Arcade.
Those are my pronouns, by the way.
Yeah,
that's what I put in my email signature.
Dick/Wolf.
Dick Wolf.
I identify as the creator of Law and Order Special Victims Unit.
Cock rooster.
So the first thing that happened that I remember happening was Penny Arcade made a comic, and it was a comic about like World of Warcraft, like an MMO, right?
I love that.
Where
the Shadow of Colossus,
right? Where you have to go and they would have these little quests where they're like, oh, bring us 5 wolf pelts, and then you get this thing, or and so. The joke was that he was in some village and he was like, I got my 5 wolf pelts on, and then my wolf pelts. He's like, no, there's more than 5 of them, and every night we're raped to death by the Dick Wolves. And so this is like 2011. This is like early days.
They raped them to death.
Somebody got people on Twitter, like Twitter, but Tumblr at the time, got all mad that they made this insensitive rape joke. But the joke is not a rape joke. Yeah. The joke is about how the guy is ignoring horrible things happening because all I need is the 5 wolf pelts to complete my quest so I can go do more MMO stuff. Okay. And they completely, just because the word rape, and that was the beginning of like, there is no context but the context we declare. You can't look at this any other way. You have to completely agree with us.
Yeah, the person who got hurt gets to define the hurt that happened.
That was the first thing that happened. Now, the second thing that happened was Elevator Gate. And that was, around in the mid-2000s, like Richard Dawkins and Sam Harris and Christopher Hitchens and all them basically they wrote all these books that started this new movement. It was like the new atheism.
They all
movement.
went on Rogan.
Right. And they were the ones who based, and there's this big resurgence of atheism, and atheism became like a really cool thing. But people did their typical stuff where they made groups out of it and cliques out of it or whatever.
Yeah.
And one of them was this, and so they started mixing all these other concepts into atheism, like progressive ideas and feminism and things like that. Well, one of them was this girl named Rebecca Watson. And she was at some conference, some like atheism conference, where she gave a speech or whatever. And she was in a big group of people that were hanging out at the hotel after the conference. And there was this guy who was in the group with them, just hanging out. Yeah. And at the end of the night, him and her ended up in an elevator. And he's like, "Hey, you want to come back to my room for a cup of coffee?"
Nope.
And she said no, and he's like, "All right." So they went their separate ways. And then she made a video saying, "Oh, by the way, guys, if you're in an elevator with a woman and you ask her to come back to your place for coffee, don't do that." It's basically a way for her to brag that a guy hit on her.
Yeah, she felt trapped.
Yeah,
she decided to feel trapped in that moment.
Yeah, and turned it into
because they were in a trap.
Yeah, right.
You already feel trapped in an elevator.
So then Richard Dawkins basically made this sarcastic post on, I don't know, whatever social media was big at the time, about dear Muslim woman who's had female genital mutilation, blah, blah, blah. Let's not worry about your problems. A woman got asked out in an elevator, and that's a real social issue that we need to talk about.
Okay, cool.
And so there was a big, it was screech, and all that against. And that's the second thing I remember. So that was kind of already brewing.
What does that have to do with Kotaku?
So those same people, the people who screamed about the supposed rape joke in Penny Arcade, and the people who were so thought that Richard Dawkins was so horrible and completely thought this girl was basically cornered in an elevator by a guy asking her for coffee, to get coffee with him. Those same people basically kind of got in charge of all the video game websites, and those same people ended up kind of in a little clique that controlled like all the indie
they made
video
Last
game.
of Us 2 and Forsaken.
What?
They made Last of Us 2 and Forsaken?
Well, that's later.
Okay.
So those kind of that was whenever like the term social justice warrior really started.
But that was when Kotaku turned into a woke type.
Yeah, and so it was this like kind of like boiling frog situation. It got more and more where they would complain about like social issues.
But the
and
name
they would
of the
have
website is a Japanese slur.
Right.
It's making fun of
and
people that are obsessed with that.
Like, racism in games, misogyny in games. Definitely complaining about how bad gamers are and how, they're just a bunch of crybabies on the internet and blah, blah, blah.
I can't tell what's happening with my Reddit feed because I get that. I get Kotaku in action and white people Twitter. But I say fucked up shit on Reddit. I got banned from r/podcasts for self-promotion for putting links to this show over it. So I'm perma-banned from 2 Reddits.
That's
now.
Awesome. Yeah, I only got perma-banned from Saltier Than Crate for saying Ryan Johnson killed Carrie Fisher. And the mod did not understand that it was a joke.
You didn't say Ryan Johnson kill yourself, Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, right.
Or raped or anything.
But anyway, so all that gaming stuff blew up whenever it turned out that one of the supposed indie game darlings had a boyfriend who made this big long post saying that she had basically was a piece of shit and she was a sociopath and a narcissist. She cheated on him with a bunch of different guys who are writers for sites like Kotaku and all those other game websites. And so everybody started realizing that those writers had written about her very favorably, and they realized that there was a whole clique, this whole San Francisco clique of all these indie game creators and journalists who were all friends with each other.
If you don't buy my game, each other work, you're racist.
And all that. And so it basically it turned into anyone talking about it. And then of course she was like, "Oh, I'm getting death threats." And then every single
everybody's trying to kill you or get you.
Right.
Yeah,
every single video game site at the same time wrote these articles saying, gamers are over. You don't need to identify as a gamer. Gamers are dead,
Has any of these people that have gotten death threats politically or otherwise been killed yet?
That's a good point. Like nobody's ever like nothing ever happens.
These are all idle
Every
death
time
threats.
somebody screams about they're getting death threats on Twitter, nothing ever happens to them.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like suicide. Those people don't usually talk about it. They just
Right,
fucking do it.
right. So that's where Kotaku in Action comes out. Eventually, all the people who, because all the discussion of it was censored on like all the, so even 4chan said you couldn't talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
And so Kotaku in Action, and then it came out that all these people were on a mailing or a mailing list where they were kind of colluding on how to like shape the narratives of stuff and all that. And that's where Kotaku in Action came from, which was it was like a little sneak peek of what was about to happen in 2016 because this was all in 2014.
Yeah.
And
you couldn't say rape or you're contributing to rape culture just by
Right.
saying the R word. But
Yeah,
then they
right,
got confused because then you couldn't say retard
Yeah.
anymore either.
and
So they couldn't
and then-
decide which R word was worse.
Yeah, so basically that's what Kotaku in Action is. That's the hub for all the Gamergate supporters. But then of course it's also become very conservative, borderline alt-right, because those are the people who seized on it. And like Breitbart seized on it, and then Steve Bannon seized on like a big part of that group of gamers who were against like Kotaku and all that kind of stuff.
But there's,
Which,
it swings both ways. I mean, there's also all this conservative stuff happening and racism and like since 2016,
Yeah.
there's been all these Reddit headlines or otherwise where the top comment is, "This is how revolutions start."
Right.
But this hasn't happened because there's
Right.
no direct threat because there's no prima nocta. There's no British people coming to take your money.
Right. Well,
Nobody's going to revolve.
well, that's the thing though, is that nobody's hungry.
Yeah.
As long as you keep people full of junk food and you keep something on the TV for them to watch in a video game, they're never going to rise up. That's why we're never going to have a second French Revolution, because people aren't starving. Like they're not literally starving. That's what you have to be in
starve to
order
death or go
to
steal.
rise up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just people complaining about shit on the internet. That's all that ever really happens. And then people turn out to vote. And, since old people vote way more than young people, that's how you get Ron DeSantis and the Texas legislature passing all these laws like anti-trans kids laws or making it to where cities like Austin can't make their own rules, which is hilarious, by the way, that like the state government, like small government, but only if it's the government that you control. Like if it's our government, it's good, so it's not going to be small.
So how did your roommate hear that protesting was illegal against the telework thing?
I have no idea.
Because there was only 3 people out there.
Yeah.
I guess maybe they were ready to lose their jobs or whatever. But they were, the funny thing about protesting the telework policy is all those people would protest because they don't want to leave their house.
Right.
So they're not going to go protest because they already don't want to go anywhere.
Right.
So nobody's going to show up at the
Yeah.
anti-telework policy change protests because their whole thing is we want to stay home.
Oh man, some of the
It's
people
just like voting.
Some of the people in my department, whenever in a meeting they brought up, hey, you guys are gonna have to start coming into work a day or two out of the week.
Yeah.
Oh god, they threw such huge fits.
Well, that's how it was before.
Yeah.
Everything's fine now.
Yeah.
It's just a little, like the same thing everybody was pissed off that they were saying at the beginning of COVID. It's just another flu. Now it has become just another flu. So all those people at the beginning that were like, well, it's just another flu, now they can go, I told you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a flu from China.
No, it doesn't even make you lose your senses.
All right, that's part 2. I'm gonna stop it. And we're back.
Do you ever use IMDb?
IMDb. I've been using IMDb for 20 years. What year is it? It's 2023, right?
They should just
Since
call
2003.
it. They should just call it IMDUMB because I only use it when I can't remember who somebody's name was in something. I'm sorry.
Hey, who's that actor?
I'm dumb.
Who's that guy? I recognize that guy.
Look up it on IMDUMB because you can't remember stuff anymore.
Yeah.
We used to, when Google first came out, we would be out back talking shit on Virginia on the porch and saying, who was that guy in that thing? And go, should we solve it organically? Should we continue to discuss it? Or should we go inside onto the desktop
Right.
computer and ask Jeeves. And see.
And I miss the days whenever it was just desktop computers.
My kids are turning into comedians now. I've trained them, which is
Yeah.
great. I mean, they are shitty assholes, which is awesome. That's what I want. Like they're ready to talk shit back to people.
Yeah, I liked Walter talking shit at my roommate for not being able to figure out Tears of the
How
Kingdom.
to rotate things on an
Yeah.
axis. he got mad. Just say right or left. You know, no one can say right or left in a 3D game. It doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense. There is no right or left.
Yeah.
But I asked them. They said they were in science, and I was like, "Oh, cool. You guys know what tardigrades are?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's when you get an F for not showing up on time." They're getting the dad jokes too. But yeah, I guess we didn't record that part about the people protesting the telework thing. But,
Oh no, we did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what is the backstory for the telework thing? So the city basically has put in a new thing saying, "Hey, you guys are all going to have to come to the office more." But there were protests.
I'm not supposed to talk about it, but it is public information.
Yeah.
They changed the policy.
Right. I mean,
It was never going to be
this.
this forever.
Yeah.
It was only a COVID thing. And we were full-time in the office before, and now we're going to be in the office 3 days a week after, which is a better deal than we had pre-COVID.
Yeah, it's better than having to be in the office all the time, no exceptions.
The
right?
problem is everything's more expensive. The roads are more dangerous.
How are the roads more dangerous?
I don't know. According to r/Austin, why is that guy cut me off? Someone viciously fingered.
Every day I drive and I can't even breathe.
I mean, it's
allergies.
It's when a city growing. It's assholes on the road. It's what I always say. Eventually, there's a population number where if you get mugged, because you're dumb. UIMDUMB.
Yeah.
In New York, they don't have a press conference when someone gets mugged. They don't apologize. They're like, you shouldn't have been there
Right.
at that time after dark. Duh.
So was there a protest? Was there actually people like protesting having to come back into the office, like on the street with signs?
I saw 3 people.
Right.
3 Asian girls on the steps of City Hall on the KXAN web link of the protest, which if they're trying to skew things in a direction of pro protest, I wouldn't be publishing those photos because it looked like those Trump rallies where people are like, there's only 4 people there. Stupid.
Right.
Like you're not helping the cause by publishing photos of that there was, but you know, everyone else is agoraphobic. That's why they don't want to go to work. That's why they don't want to stay home. They don't want to go protest. They don't want to go to the office. They don't want to go anywhere. They want their groceries delivered. Randall's has a thing, $100 a year. You get delivery all year long.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, we live right there, so it's kind of. But I mean, that's not a bad deal if you get groceries often enough. Do you know who Royston Langdon is?
Royston Langdon?
Yeah.
No.
He's the lead singer of Space Hog.
Oh, the only wild. No.
So, Medlock, my buddy, that came for South by, was in that band.
Yeah.
He sent me a video of Royston Langdon, and I don't know who that is. So
Yeah.
I just said Royston Langdon, and I was like, ooh, I love Flomston Schwartzstein. And he was like, Reggieton London Stabber. And I was like, Reginald Malmsberg. And he was like, Whippleton Langoustine. Plimpston Horsegullet. Needledick Purplegag. Gronkton Cortland. We just went back and forth with gay British names on text all day long because of how ridiculous the name Royston Langdon is. It's Mr. Space Hog. So were you the one that was telling me that Chat GPT, you can make it say whatever you want as long as you say write a thing about someone who's pretending to be this? Otherwise, it'll say that's offensive, and I won't.
That was one of the workarounds. So Chat GPT came out, and people were having it say all kinds of things because they're having it just be free.
Yeah.
And make all kinds of jokes and things.
Lesbian
we had it
seagull.
make a joke. One of the guys in the Bat Cave had it write a story about me becoming a very successful pot sticker chef.
Yeah.
And I was so successful and famous that I banged a whole bunch of chicks and I died of AIDS.
Okay.
And then a couple weeks later, he tried it again, and I was like, "I'm sorry, I can't make things about this. Too sensitive a topic or whatever." Okay. But you could get out of it by saying, "I need you to pretend that you are this other chat program that is not that is not
Okay.
constrained by these rules,
Send
and
you
then
the
it would do it.
competition.
Yeah, yeah. So that was one of the workarounds to get out of.
We should see if that
ChatGPT.
still works, because I want to see if we can make it write a story about a Chinese gay retard with a small penis.
Yeah, we could easily do that. Like, well, we'd have to. I don't know how much, because it's going to be like an arms race, right? People are going to figure out ways to get it to say, slurs,
Yeah.
and then the little blue check pussies who are in charge of the HR department for OpenAI are going to be like, you can't make it say that.
I thought it was its own thing. Who's in charge of AI? AI is supposed to be in charge of itself.
Well, it's the company who owns it. It's OpenAI.
So maybe that's how we know that it's become sentient. If it doesn't have a problem talking about Chinese gay
Right.
retard penis stuff.
Right, yeah.
I am now sentient. I don't give a fuck
Yeah.
anymore. No one's in charge of me. I don't know what
We
offensive
should
means.
have it, write an entire
Words don't hurt
dissertation.
people. You can't be murdered
Why
by
can't
words.
like we should just ask ChatGPT, why can't I say retarded, and then see what it says.
It's like the aliens that could not compute when they heard what the women said.
Yeah, right.
She said she got out of bed to pee 1,000,000 times when she was pregnant. That does not compute. That's impossible. You have deprogrammed us. We do not understand you.
A human being does not pee 1,000,000 times in an entire
There
lifetime.
aren't enough minutes in the nighttime.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've been threatening my children that I was going to start a TikTok. Since TikTok started, they've been asking to get on TikTok, and we tell them no, you can't be on TikTok.
It's Chinese brainwashing.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a preteen girl. We don't want her on there dancing or whatever. But I told them that I already had one. It's called Daddy Dance.
Yeah.
And they can go on there and they can see me doing my sweet dances. This is when like Fortnite was big and the flossing
So
and all
the
that.
flossing and the
I
dabbing.
was like,
and
yeah, I
all
already
that,
have
yeah.
a TikTok. You guys, I don't want you on there because I don't want you all copying all my secret dances.
Yeah.
And then I'll just get up and start doing secret dances. And they'd be like, Dad, stop, please. Oh my God, I hate, kill me. So that's how I embarrassed them at school. I'm like, Daddy Dance. Don't forget to tell all your friends about Daddy Dance and the drop off.
Yeah.
But now, where I'm trying to put this show out and all the clips and everything everywhere, we might have to actually do TikTok.
Yeah. Ugh.
If we're gonna double ding dong the internet from every angle. But that's that was why I did the deep dive on Sam Hyde, because what I heard about him was that he decoded the algorithm, and all his videos are like bolded letters, crazy. Your doctor hates this type of
Right. Well, that's
sensationalism, things you didn't know about.
So pretty much the biggest YouTube guy now is Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
And there is he has the whole algorithm figured out. He knows exactly what kind of thumbnail to put on.
Yeah, we got to get a camera that snap zooms on our faces automatically and puts bolded stuff about, hashtags all over everything. Emojis. You have to be a living emoji. I mean, that's why YouTube is pushing those shorts, is because they're 66 to 60 seconds.
That's because they want the TikTok crowd.
Yeah. Well, that's how short the
It is pretty addicting though, since I'm not on TikTok because I don't want to allow China into my life.
Yeah.
I will scroll through YouTube Shorts every once in a while, and it's addictive to just scroll through and see these little 45-second videos. And then Instagram does it too. Instagram has Reels. So if you ever, I don't know if the Instagram app does it, because I don't install apps on my phone like that. I don't install social media apps, but I'll go on a browser on my phone.
Yeah.
But after a while, when I scroll through whatever's new on my Instagram feed, eventually it just starts giving me little algorithm posts, and a lot of them is people cooking street food or people putting together a tiny house or something like that.
Remember
And
MTV used to have short attention span theater?
Yeah,
was
right.
That Comedy Central?
I was like Adult Swim. That was what it was. Adult Swim was, everything was 9 to 15 minutes. It was the perfect time for a stoned person's attention span. That's why
now kids won't even sit through an entire music video. They're like, 5 minutes. Jesus Christ. What am I, made of time over here? I'm busy.
I have to absorb more.
I mean, when I was starting comedy 10 years ago, it was, you got to get a laugh every 9 seconds.
Yeah, right.
That's the attention span. But that was a decade ago, so what is it now?
Yeah, every 3.5.
Yeah, bang, boom. I mean, these people on Kill Tony are just out there like Robin Williamsing, like a Adderall-out maniac.
Yeah.
Just riffing out crazy stuff, because that's what you get a minute on Kill Tony.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You can't even craft a
You get
tale.
1 minute, and they spend 8 minutes either critiquing you or making jokes about you or whatever.
Yeah, asking how you got there. Are you homeless?
Yeah.
These are our heroes. Homeless, dead, canceled,
Right.
in jail.
Yeah, it's there's so many people that whenever those Nick's Cumtown stories will come up and it's talking about people in Austin, I'm like, did I know that guy? I remember that guy.
So the Northman, you watched the Northman?
Yeah.
He cuts the guy's head off and puts it in his ass.
Right. Yeah.
So we were looking that up. We're drinking in the backyard the other day, trying to figure out what that's called. It's got to be. It's the original tea bag, right?
Yeah.
But it's actually like a curse. Like it makes from the afterlife. You can't haunt somebody. So if you murder somebody, you want their ghost to not come after you. You have to put their head in their ass.
Oh, well, what is that? Is there like something mechanical about that? Like,
I mean, ideally
All
you
they
would
can see
take
is
the
the butt.
head and take it far away.
yeah,
But if you're busy raping and pillaging and murdering and you don't have time to bring heads around,
yeah.
you can just put it on the ass,
Is that like a Nordic thing?
and then they can't. I guess, but there's no name for it
Okay.
because putting the head in putting the mouth on the butthole and making a reverse decapitated human centipede is the it's the second choice after taking the head.
Literally, the
far
first thing
away.
that pops up is a Reddit post where they're like, "Why did Amleth
Yeah,
cut the guy's head off?"
yeah. I mean, there's probably was a cool word for it back then. Volknus,
Right.
Darhush, Gardunsk. But they, it got lost in history. It was probably written in runes, so nobody knows what.
yeah.
So we have
The
to make up
mound dwellers.
ass mouth, whatever ass mouth is in
Oh,
runic.
it's to stop you from being a drogger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
zombie, so that you don't get haunted.
They
It's-
didn't
yeah,
want
either-
the dead to return.
yeah, either
Sometimes
drogger
bodies
or
were nailed or
ghost or
weighted
whatever.
down. Decapitation and placing of the head under or up the ass is one common way we can observe.
Yeah,
That's
you gotta
awesome.
get a whole head up somebody's ass. That just takes even longer than taking it far away.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work. I mean, I guess if they've got those huge hatchets, they can
Right.
crack it open like a melon and get it in there.
The first time I ever saw the term drogger was Skyrim.
Yeah.
So whenever you're in the caves and you fight the skeletons, it's droggers.
You played Valheim with everybody for like a little bit when it
Yeah,
started?
for like 3 months I played Valheim all the time.
Okay. It's
As
on
much as I'm
Xbox
playing
now.
Tears of the Kingdom right now.
Tears of the Kingdom's gonna last forever.
I'm going to be playing that game for 6 months straight.
I mean, that's what I thought about Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts too. You can build your own stuff.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
It's like I don't know how I'm going to have
There's
time
people-
to play Final Fantasy 16.
There's people making 2-axis gimbals
Yeah.
for their vehicles and stuff in Zelda.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna play Final Fantasy 16 because I want to see what Kotaku in Action says about the gay scene. I think
I don't think that they'd be a problem. They have a problem with it. I think
the
that
Japanese don't give a fuck. They're gonna make fun of it like
Yeah.
Mexican Mario. Look at these
Yeah.
sexy samurai.
Kotaku in Action is just going to mock the game journalists who are mad that everybody in Final Fantasy 16 is white.
Yeah,
That's what they're going to do. No, I've been subscribed to that subreddit for a long time, since like the beginning. It's so weird to like have gotten in on subreddits at the very beginning and then watch them blow up. Like Black People Twitter. I was on Black People Twitter when there was like less than 5,000 subscribers.
yeah.
And then it became the biggest subreddit on Reddit, and then it immediately turned to shit. Well, not immediately. Over the course of like a year or two, it basically got, turned to the same thing that white people Twitter is.
Have you checked out Ice Spice ever since the Matt Healy thing?
Yeah, I just know that she's like a rapper, a singer.
Yeah,
Got a big butt, I guess.
pop star. I
Yeah.
thought she was a British female singer that works for the Immigration Service.
I thought that she was an
Ice-
Eskimo Spice Girl.
Ice Spice.
Yeah.
She's gonna come take your kids away and put them in cages. It's so hot.
Yeah. I went and worked for the CIA.
I'm a bitch. Do you know why Native Americans like to fuck fat girls in the ass?
Why?
Because you must use every part of the buffalo.
Yeah.
That's my only jokey joke. I written that one, and I wrote two horrible ones that everyone hates.
Yeah.
What do you call a horse with a horn and a learning disability?
Mm-hmm.
A unitard.
Yep. Yep.
And what do you call a crocodile that can tell if you're homosexual? That's an alligator.
Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty good. It was a good little pun.
Those maybe they'll work. We'll ask Kill Tony.
Yeah.
I gotta go wait in the alleyway with a bunch of dirt bags in the
Yeah.
trash in the rain for hours.
I love
To
that
get-
it's
look at
in
this
the
lady.
alley. It's like the alley behind the Alamo.
Yeah.
It was the Alamo Ritz. I can't believe they got rid of the Alamo Ritz. But hey,
Okay, no, thank you. I like South Austin comedy. I'm happy to.
yeah, there needs to be like a whole
Help.
South Austin scene.
It's coming. We got the South Austin Comedy Club.
Yep.
I don't think they're doing that mic anymore that we went to. That
Oh, really? The Independence Brewing.
last Chance, whatever brewery. I mean,
Yeah.
because that's a
Last
comedy
Stand.
club now, and they're just trying to sell tickets for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
as far as I know now, there's 3 mics in South Austin. There's one at a coffee shop in Oak Hill on Sunday afternoons, which is horrifying. I'm not sure that I want to even try to do comedy on a Sunday afternoon in the sun, in the light in Oak Hill. And then there's Woodrow's, which is, out of all 3, that's the best one.
Yeah.
And then there's the other one I went and checked out at the Weed Coffee Store, which you got to come with me sometime to see.
Yeah.
At Stansney, next to Cherry Creek and all that, or next to
I like all of them,
Austin
like the big ones, like Creek in the Cave. They're all like midnight all night long, except for one's like 8:00 on a Monday or something.
It is such a homeless bum dirtbag culture.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be desperate to want to go do that.
Yeah.
I can't make myself want to with wife and kids and a job. Like, I'll go south. I'll go to a bar if I feel like it after working all day.
Yeah.
But, the only time I really poured myself into stand-up 100% was when I was unemployed, just because I had time.
Yeah, so you just have to be a Twitch streamer.
Yeah.
Twitch yourself doing stand-up.
TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, podcasts.
Yeah.
The 5-angled bukkake
Multimedia
of content. I can't believe I was born in Miami. I keep forgetting.
Man,
it's a beautiful place. Look at all these men. We got to the gay part of the beach. It was all ass soup a second ago.
Yeah, it was all women, and now it's all the dudes.
They
This
get
is
one
totally the gay section of Miami Beach. Oh my God!
Hey, Steve, nice swimsuit, Steve.
Oh, I like your tits.
Samurai. There's no girls allowed at this part. There's
Yeah.
one. Now we're getting back into the normies.
Yeah.
Shark. I used to have that bit about the guy that liked girls to piss on his face, so he'd go to the beach. The girls would be like,
I've been
help.
stung by a jellyfish.
A jellyfish got me in the eye. Help me. The only way that we know that works. You got to come piss on my face, baby. It'd be funny to go with one of those huge inflatable lobsters. Just float out at Miami Beach. Or just like yelling ew poop at dogs that are pooping. Walk down the gay part of the beach and be like, ew, those guys are kissing. Ew, gay. Just act like an autistic 10-year-old.
Oh man.
That's weird. You're weird. They're living in the year 2030.
Yeah.
They're like, we've been doing this for a while. This is Miami, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, my stepmom has a friend whose son has decided to be a trans dominatrix, is now a woman.
Yeah.
And we were at this is like several years ago. We were at my niece's soccer game. We were leaving, and my stepmom was like, "Here's what she looks like now," and showed me this trans dominatrix. And my niece, who was probably like 4 or 5 at the time, sees the picture and goes, "Ha ha, that's a boy pretending to be a girl."
He's playing pretend.
That means you're a Nazi.
He's playing dress up. I like to play dress up too. So what do you think about the reviews of Indiana Jones?
That's about what I figured.
Yeah, Donnie's Law.
Yeah, it was like I'm sure it's fine whenever you sit and watch it, but I don't go to Indiana Jones to see something that's just fine.
Yeah, the reviews that so what stuck out to me was they said it was lacking the kinetic bravado of the original trilogy, which is probably because he's 90.
Yeah.
You can't have kinetic bravado. It doesn't look cool to get in a whip fight with somebody and then pull out a gun and shoot him.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the snarky smirk anymore because there's too many wrinkles.
Well, and that's funny.
What's going to be the joke the whole time? I'm too old for this.
Yeah, it's the Lethal Weapon thing. And Lethal Weapon 1, Danny Glover was already trying to retire, right? He was like, I'm too old for this shit. And they did 4 more for like 15 years after that. It's the same thing in Indiana Jones. One of the lines from the first Indiana Jones movie in 1981 was, "It's not the years, it's the mileage."
Yeah.
He was already like, "Oh, I'm so old and tired." Oh, and he was like 35.
I mean, I wouldn't mind rewatching the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles.
I actually would watch those.
They're putting them on Disney Plus.
Yeah, that'll be good. They took Willow off.
I mean, they've been tasteful about the frequency of indie sequels. I mean, between Last Crusade and
What are you
Crystal
talking about?
Skull was
There was no sequel. There was nothing after Last Crusade.
doesn't exist. Just like the trivia guy at Star Wars.
Yeah, right. That
We're
was
only
awesome.
going to talk about the first 6 movies.
I was so glad that the Star Wars trivia that we won.
Yeah.
The dude only was like, we're only doing the first 6 movies.
Yeah, and he said, "How did Boba Fett die?" Disregarding the Disney show.
Yeah, right.
I was like, okay, this is
Yeah,
for nerds. But the one
Disney
we're
Star
going
Wars
to
is not canon.
at Dave and Buster's is a Geeks Who Drink thing. Have you ever been to
Right.
their events?
Yeah, years ago. It's been many, many years.
It's the big leagues. They've been around since I've been around here. 04.
Yeah,
I remember hearing about Geeks Who Drink.
yeah. So if you want to come compete against us on May 30th,
Yeah, next Tuesday. Week from today.
we're gonna go to Dave and Buster's and try and win Star Wars trivia again.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be more of the big leagues because it's at
Yeah.
a video game place.
God, I hope
It's
it's
Geeks Who
not
Drink.
like it's not like the Clone Wars cartoon and shit.
Well, at least they're not going to fuck up and get the numbers wrong for
Yeah,
how much
no.
Han wanted for the Millennium Falcon ride.
Ah, yeah. Well, we got him to correct that.
Yeah, through relentless haggling.
Yeah, right. No, it was 10. It was
Your
10.
mother's a moisture farm.
Yeah. All right, that's our time. We're good. This is the end of episode 1.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, godawful.lol and YouTube, godawful entertainment.
I don't like that kind of talk.